MOVEMBER, growing mustaches to raise awareness for prostate cancer and other men's health issues. If you'd like to donate, there will be a link in the description. Thank you.
Ranking every MLS Cup ever played. I've already done 27 through 11. Now it's time for the cream of the crop, the top 10 MLS Cups. Now, just a little reminder here, the criteria I'm looking at is entertainment value with like a little bit of a pinch of storyline in there. But the main thing I'm looking at is just how fun were these games to watch?
Kicking off the top 10 with 2003 San Jose Earthquakes, Chicago Fire. A matchup of the two best teams from the regular season brought us the highest scoring final in MLS Cup history. The Fire were definitely the favorites in 03, trying to become the first team ever to win the treble of US Open Cup, Supporter Shield, and MLS Cup. But their final did not start well, as San Jose's Ronnie Eklund scored a free kick in the upper 90. Donovan would add a second to give the Quakes a 2-0 lead into halftime. And then in the second half, the fireworks really started. DeMarcus Beasley scored for the Fire in the 49th, and then a minute later, while the Fire were still celebrating, Richard Mulrooney scored again for San Jose, upping their lead back to 2. Then Cliff Ronye scores an own goal 4 minutes after that, and it's back to a 1-goal game. Then Ronye committed a foul in the box 2 minutes after that, gave the Fire a PK, the first ever PK in MLS Cup history, which was blocked by Pat Onstad. And then 4 minutes after that, Ante Razov smashes the post, which would have also tied the game.
That may have been the most chaotic 15-minute stretch in MLS Cup history.
Donovan would add another, Razov would miss an absolute sitter, and the Earthquakes would win MLS Cup 4-2. Most memorable moment for me has to be the PK save. So clutch by Pat Onstad here. Because had the Fire scored that would have been 3 goals for the Fire in the first 11 minutes of the second half. That save was a total game changer. The Fire had the momentum, and Onstad put it out. Number 9, 2015 Columbus Crew, Portland Timbers.
Okay, I'm not gonna say 2015 was the best soccer on display, but if you can get past that, then holy hell, this game was something else.
The game starts with the fastest goal in MLS history. Just seconds into the match, people still heading towards their seats at this point, Diego Valeri pickpocketing Steve Clark. Then, minutes later, I don't know what the sideline ref was looking at here because the ball is over a yard out of bounds, but he doesn't raise his flag. Portland steals it, scores another to take a 2-goal lead in the first 8 minutes. Columbus finally starts to find their groove, and in the 18th minute, Kai Kamara cleans up Portland's mistake to bring one back. Not even 20 minutes into this game, you have a crew fuck-up, you have a ref fuck-up, and now you have a Portland Timbers fuck-up. It is a hat trick of fuck-ups.
I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
Both teams cleaned up their act in the second half, and both teams had their chances, but ultimately, it was the Timbers to hold on to the win, 2-1. Most memorable moment, I mean, it's gotta be that first goal, right? 27 seconds into the match, Steve Clark, what are you doing? Just clear it out! At number 8, I've got 2006 Houston Dynamo New England Revolution, Part 1. Houston fans traveled by the thousands to pack Pizza Hut Park in Frisco, Texas, and created what is called the Sea of Orange in the stands. Damn, that's awesome. The game itself felt a little bit like the year before, 2005, where there were more half chances than full-on assaults on the goal. But you could feel it coming. As the game opened up, you could sense a breakthrough coming, and it finally did in the 113th minute when Taylor Twellman slipped by and slotted in the apparent game winner. This was a long time coming for both the Revolution and Twellman, who had gone scoreless in their first 2 MLS Cup appearances.
Oh my God, they finally did it. The Revolution are finally gonna win MLS Cup after 2 failed attempts, and never mind, game's tied.
Because less than a minute later, right from the kickoff, the Dynamo whip in a cross, which is headed in by Brian Ching to tie the match. After extra time ended, we saw the first PK shootout in MLS Cup historay, and in the last kick, Jay Heaps would see his shot snuffed by Pat Onstad. The Dynamo, in their first season in Houston, champions of MLS. Most memorable moment, it's got to be the equalizer by Brian Ching. One of the most clutch responses I have ever seen. I can't even imagine the feeling of Rev supporters like, oh no, here we go again. Number 7, it's 2009 LA Galaxy, Real Salt Lake.
Okay, come on. I think even diehard Salt Lake fans can agree with me on this one, that before the match, it really seemed like RSL stood no shot in this one. I mean, apart from Nick Rimando, you look at every other position on the field, and the Galaxy comfortably had the edge over RSL.
And then, when Real Salt Lake's best player, Javier Morales, went down early with an injury, it's like the task, which already felt impossible, just got that much harder. But there's a reason the games are played. And while the Galaxy had the better opportunities early on and even struck first, Real Salt Lake managed to hang in there. They battled and kept up with the mighty Galaxy and managed to find an equalizer in the second half. As the final whistle blew, the game headed to a PK shootout. Could Rimando once again be the hero like he was in the Eastern Conference Final against my Chicago Fire? A save on Edson Buttle in the 7th round of kicks led to Robbie Russell tucking away the winner. And the biggest upset in MLS Cup history, a team under 500 took down the Supporter Shield champs, RSL, winning their first MLS Cup in just their 5th year of existence. Most memorable moment came in the PK shootout. If there's one guy in the entire stadium you'd feel most comfortable taking a PK, I think most people would have to say it's Landon Donovan. It's like a guaranteed make. And then he did that. He sorted over the crossbar. If Donovan is missing PKs like that, then I think you just gotta admit it's not gonna be your night. Number 6, 2014 LA Galaxy New England Revolution, Part 3.
The Galaxy were trying to be the first to 5 championships, while ironically the Revolution were trying to avoid the distinction of being the first team to lose 5 championships. But either way, whoever won, whether it was the Galaxy with their 5th cup or the New England Revolution with their 1st cup, either way, it was going to be history.
Just overall, it was a really great battle between 2 evenly matched teams. From the opening kickoff, we nearly saw a wonder goal with Robbie Keane twinkle-toeing between defenders. And then we saw AJ De La Garza with a last-second slide to stop Charlie Davies. And then a young Giassi Zardes putting in the opener. And you think, okay, New England's just going to have their hearts broken again. That sounds about right. But then Chris Tierney slips through and finds the equalizer, and all the momentum seemed to shift towards New England. They started hitting the crossbars. They got some good shots off in extra time. It was looking like the Galaxy are toast. And finally, this was going to be the Revs' year. But then out of nowhere, Robbie Keane, kept onside, finishes it, and gives the Galaxy the 2-1 win. The Revolution, again, falls just short. Donovan retires a champion in MLS. We don't need to talk about his short return in 2016. Most memorable moment, this is going to sound weird, but I'm going to say the celebration of the game winner. Yeah, we've seen Robbie tumble before, but with Alan Gordon joining him and the rest of the Galaxy behind them, it was such a great shot caught by the camera crew. And this is the lasting image that I think of when I think of Robbie Keane. And at number 5, it's 2001 San Jose Earthquakes, LA Galaxy.
The battle for California. That was played in Columbus, Ohio. The San Jose Earthquakes were looking to complete the worst to first turnaround, while the Galaxy, playing in their 3rd MLS Cup final, amazingly, were still looking to win the title for the first time.
While the Galaxy had the better record in 01, San Jose knocked them off in both previous meetings this season. Mexican legend Luis Hernandez scored first for the Galaxy, but a blonde-haired 19-year-old Landon Donovan found the equalizer. At this point, there was no favorite. Both teams finding opportunities. It was just a matter of time before someone found the game winner. And in the extra time period, Dwayne De Rosario found himself one-on-one with Danny Califf. After a little bit of dancing and jiving, D-Ro found some space, shot the ball off Kevin Hartman's hand, off the post, and in the net. Earthquakes, champions of MLS for the first time with a 2-1 win over the G's. Most memorable moment? Easily the golden goal. The first epic moment of Dwayne De Rosario's legendary career, but obviously not his last moment. Just missing out on the podium at number 4, it's 2002 LA Galaxy New England Revolution Part 1. Before the Galaxy were the dynasty that won more MLS Cups than anyone else, they were the perennial punching bag in MLS Cup, losing in 1996, 1999, and 2001. 3 losses in 6 years. Meanwhile, the Revolution were just the Revolution. They had never made it to MLS Cup before 2002.
But the Revs now had Taylor Twellman, while the Galaxy now had Carlos Ruiz. Without a doubt, 2 of the biggest signings in all of MLS that season, because not only were they the best players on their team, they were easily the best strikers in all of MLS, which meant this was a dream matchup for MLS Cup. You know, for 2002 standards.
And this game did not disappoint. A back-and-forth affair where both teams came just inches away from finding a winner. But finally, in the second extra time period, Carlos Ruiz found the golden goal game winner as the Galaxy finally had their first MLS Cup, topping the Revolution 1-0. The most memorable moment, of course, was that golden goal by Carlos Ruiz. It was the last golden goal in MLS history as FIFA changed the rules and eliminated golden goal, which, gotta be honest, I got mixed feelings about because I always liked golden goal. Man, look at that face. You could see just how much this moment meant to him. And now we hit the top 3 MLS Cups. And at number 3, the bronze medal. It's the first one, the inaugural MLS Cup 1996, DC United, LA Galaxy, Part 1. If this wasn't MLS Cup, if it was just a regular season game, they would have rescheduled it. The heavy rain from the lingering effects of Hurricane Lily made the field almost unplayable. But since there was no lightning, they elected to play the match. However, the more rain that came, the worse the conditions got throughout the match. After Alexi Lalas performed the national anthem,
Seriously, like, I'm not even joking, Alexi Lalas sang the national anthem in 1996.
the game kicked off, and right away it seemed like this was going to be the Galaxy's day. Eduardo Hurtado scored just 5 minutes into the match and did a baseball slide into the waterlogged field. Yeah, man, don't get me wrong, that looks like fun, but God, he had to have been freezing after that. The Galaxy would add another in the second half with a fantastic solo effort by Chris Armas. Feeling the pressure, Coach Bruce Arena made some substitutions, bringing in Tony Sana and Sean Medved, which paid off tremendously as both subs ended up scoring, Sana in the 73rd and Medved in the 81st. The comeback was made complete in just the 4th minute of extra time, when Eddie Pope headed in the corner to give DC United the first MLS Cup in league history. A thrilling 3-2 victory over the LA Galaxy. And still to this day, the only MLS Cup where a team has come back from 2 goals down. And of course, the most memorable moment was that winner by Eddie Pope. It remains to this day the most iconic goal in MLS Cup history. Silver medal number 2, 2013, Sporting Kansas City, Real Salt Lake. One word to describe this: epic. I mean, sometimes finals can turn into defensive struggles because no one wants to make that mistake. That was not the case here. So many edge-of-your-seat moments, both teams getting agonizingly close to scoring multiple times. Eventually, Alvaro Saborio did find the first goal from a cheeky no-look pass from Kyle Beckerman and a smooth finish. RSL getting close multiple times to picking up a second and putting this one out of reach. But then Ruel and Colin tying it up in the 76th minute and getting the momentum to shift back to SKC.
You know, honestly, I think the most amazing part about this game is the fact that there were only 2 goals, despite there being a buttload of chances for both teams. And I'm not talking like half chances or shots from 30 yards away. Like, no, we're talking premium chances that strikers would die for.
In the PK shootout, you had both keepers making saves, both teams' star players hitting the ball over the net, and the shootout went all the way to 10 rounds until Lavelle Palmer hit the crossbar. A roller coaster from start to finish, and SKC won their first MLS Cup since 2000, back when they were the Wizards. The most memorable moment? What the hell is Jimmy Nielsen doing here?
Javier Morales! Oh, it's off the inside of the post!
Yeah, as amazing as a game this was, a lot of incredible scenes. Seriously, what the hell, Jimmy? Are you tripping over the end line here?
And that leaves us with number 1, the gold medal. I had to do it. It's 2022. LAFC Philadelphia Union. Now, could it be possibly that we're just suffering from a little bit of recency bias here? No. This is definitively the best MLS Cup game ever played. I'll go a step further. It's not only the best MLS Cup game, this is the best game in MLS history. Like, this is beyond anything we've ever witnessed before in this league.
The top two teams in the league. You had the team who brought in the stars in LAFC against the team that mostly developed the stars in the Union. It was a clash of two different philosophies, and the matchup didn't just live up to the hype, it surpassed it. Kellen Acosta scored first off a deflected free kick, then Gazdag tied it up in the second half. Mariel scored in the 83rd minute, and you're thinking, okay, that might be the winner. Nope, because 2 minutes later, Jack Elliott finds the equalizer. Then in extra time, a bad back pass forces goalkeeper Maxime Crépro to come off his line, deny the obvious goal-scoring opportunity, which obviously gets him a red card, but also ends up in a fucking broken leg for him. So then they got to put in backup John McCarthy, a native of Philadelphia and someone who used to play for the Union. And shortly after, he gives up a goal in stoppage time of extra time. And you're thinking, okay, now that's got to be it. I mean, LAFC down by 1 goal, down by a player. There's no way they get tied again. But because of all the stoppages, because of the, fucking broken leg and the goal, there's like 10 minutes still of time added on. And Gareth Bale, of all people, who up until this point was a total bust for LAFC, then gets the equalizer and sends Banca California Stadium into bedlam.
Major League Soccer!
And then, in the PK shootout, the backup, John McCarthy, saves 2 and becomes the hero as LAFC win the shootout. Most memorable moments, it's gotta be that Gareth Bale equalizer. Like, of course, it just had to be him. It had to be Bale, the biggest signing that season, to make that play. Even if he was mostly invisible the entire time he was in LA, he made the play that mattered the most.
Yeah, that's it. 10 out of 10. The single greatest game of soccer ever played. The single greatest spectacle of sports ever seen. The World Cup final? That's cute. That was fun too. But no, seriously, this game had everything. It was 2013, but with a better storyline, with more goals, with a broken leg, with a backup keeper being the hero in the PK shootout. This game, you could not ask for any more. Whew. All right, well, that was fun. But now it's your turn. What were your favorite MLS Cups of all time? Let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.